Are you an entrepreneur who's struggling to be seen? Do you know deep in your gut that if you could just be seen and get your message out, that you'd easily reach your tribe? How wonderful would it be if a fairy godmother came along, waved her magic wand, and suddenly you were more than visible? You were dazzling. Would you sign up for that? Hi, I'm Deborah Lupien, spiritual teacher and international best-selling author of Akasha Unleashed, the Missing Manual to You. I'm here with the wonderful news that such a person actually exists. Her name is Kornelia Stephanie, and she's gifted at helping entrepreneurs become dazzling. I've watched her work her magic over and over to turn invisible entrepreneurs into dazzling stars who easily attract their ideal clients and have fun doing it. Not long ago, I was the recipient of her gift. As a guest on her show, Living Heaven on Earth, not only did we have fun, but Kornelia helped me get my message out to a wider audience, which resulted in a very nice spike of traffic to my website and more subscribers to my list. Did I mention it was incredibly easy? Kornelia's running a veritable media empire of uplifting programs. They cover a broad range of topics and have a large appreciative audience. That's a winning combination, folks. Guess what? Those shows need guests and hosts. Imagine, after guesting on a few shows, moving up to hosting your own popular show. That is absolutely possible for you. So now you have a decision to make. Are you going to keep struggling on your own? Or are you going to sign up for some Kornelia Stephanie dazzling visibility magic? Email radio@korneliastephanie.com today.
Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. I'm Kornelia Stephanie, and I'm here with my co-host, Carlenia Springer. Hi, Carlenia.
Hi, Kornelia. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited for this show today because we're going to be talking about your newest project that you are introducing to the world, and we're introducing it here today on this show. So we are talking about Kids of the Cosmos and the Whisper in the Storm, and that's what we're going to talk about. But first, I want you to tell us and our audience what the Kids of the Cosmos is about.
Well, let me see. Where do I begin? Kids of the Cosmos was really birthed out of my experience because I was a highly intuitive child, and there was so much suppression around me that I didn't know. I had no frame of reference for my experiences. And once I came into awareness of the experiences that I was having was not like happenstance. They weren't just random thoughts. As a child, I wanted to be a child psychologist. I thought that's how I wanted to help children. I wanted to give them a space to talk, to be free.
Wow.
But as I grew, I said, you know what? I want to create a space for people like me and you who have had these experiences since childhood, and we haven't had a space to talk about it. We haven't had a space to connect. A lot of people are going through a lot of mental disturbances because they don't know how to use the information that they're receiving, how to connect it to what's happening in their lives in real time. So Kids of the Cosmos is really a place where we get to learn how to harness, control, and direct our energy, how to bring information from that side to this side, to make our lives better and to empower other people as well.
Yeah, and basically what you're saying, what I hear you saying is that what you want to do is you want to inspire everyone not to suppress those gifts, not to suppress those intuitive guidances or the hunches or the the inner dialogue that you're getting, or the downloads or the dreams, or whatever that information is that you're getting from the cosmos, not to suppress that in your own being, but then also to let your children flower into that expression, because that they are already, because when we're kids, right, when we're little kids, we're so intuitively tapped in, and we're already sharing all of these amazing experiences with our parents, because we don't have the filters, we don't have
Yeah.
those filters. And so what you're saying is you want to help the parents, but you also want to help the upcoming children so that they don't get numbed down and dumbed down like we did.
Yes, absolutely. And when I look around in our society today, there's so much conversation around bullying in schools.
Yeah.
But we don't just experience bullying in schools, right? People experience it in their relationships, at work, America, to the world, right? We talk about the presidency as a bully pulpit.
Yeah.
And so we really have been deceived and taught how to look outside of us for solutions. And we're looking outside of us and we're blaming things, circumstances, and people for the challenges we're facing. And universal law doesn't work like that. And so it keeps us spinning, and people they're lost. And I really want to help people to begin to find their way, to have that access to internal guidance so that they understand that they're not powerless.
Yeah. And and also I know that this is for the world at large, but also I want to point this out, because it's important to point this out, is that you have a primary niche, and that is a focus to help the African people, your American people, your group of people. I mean, this is for
People
anybody.
of African descent. Yeah. So sacred spaces, which
Yes.
really is at the core of Kids of the Cosmos. Sacred spaces is a place of healing. It's a place of, and so that's my movement for people of African descent. And it's a place of healing. It's a place where we acknowledge anger, rage, resentment, betrayal, sadness, grief. All of these, all of these places that we get stopped. We are unable to move. We're angry at people. We're upset because there's been so much injustice. But we
Yes.
don't understand that until we bring that energy back in, we've not knowingly but generationally that energy has gone out, and it's time to pull it back in. It's time to pull it back in. We can't fight people with guns. We can't fight people with weapons, but we can bring peace to our homes. We can bring peace to our families, and we can bring peace to the world. And it starts with us. It starts with us. And like you said, it's for everybody. I have a passion for people of African descent. So that's my movement. But it is really awakening people to those innate gifts that they have and helping them use it, because you can't be receiving dreams and having information about what's going to happen, and you ignore that, and then you run into walls, and then you're getting mad at people and circumstances outside of you when you were actually shown. But if you have no idea that you were shown this information or what to do with it, you're lost.
Yeah.
And I think at the core of this, it's that we're human beings and we possess a body. We're spirit and we possess a body. So we live in a society that acknowledges the body and how the body operates, but we don't operate as spirit connected to source. When we begin to know who we are as spirit, then we begin to pull back that energy. We realize we're not so helpless, and that we have far more ability to affect our environment and our circumstances than we do when we're just focused on what's around us, what we can see, hear, touch, and feel.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you're doing this work, Carlenia, for so many reasons. For the earth, I'm so glad that you came, and that you are sharing your gifts, and you're out there and you're speaking your voice, and you're educating, and you're influencing, and you're empowering people. And I'm so glad that you're doing that. And what you just said about the physical body, just before the show, I'm writing some memes right now. I'm in the process of writing some memes. And just before the show today, this is one of the memes. This is something that I had written about 4 years ago that speak to what it is that you're just saying. So here's what this says. You don't have to die to go to heaven. Heaven on earth is an inside job. The earth is already here, and heaven is a state of consciousness. Merging heaven on earth into the physical is an inside job that requires a physical body, yours.
Yes.
You feel me? You
Absolutely.
feel me?
Yes.
That right there.
Yes.
It's what you were just speaking to right now. And even though I didn't know that I was writing this for you, but I got inspired to write this down. And now I'm sharing it with you because that's what it is that we're doing. We are evolving through our physical bodies, and we're acting out through our physical bodies. Some people act out in a bullying way, and those of us that have done the inner work, that are listening to our inner guidance, that are leading from the heart, that are practicing compassion, love, and forgiveness, those of us are acting like heaven.
Yes.
Right? Those of us are doing.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I want to share with the audience today is I want to share this this piece that you wrote about kids at the KOSMOZ. But first, I want to tell everybody about your upcoming project, your book project. Let's tell people about what that's about, and then we can go into the topic for today's show.
Okay, so I have a Kids of the KOSMOZ book project, and this is going to be a combination of adults and youth who have had these experiences. And for my entire life, I didn't realize what was happening, but for my entire life, I actually would run into people who would say, you're the only person I've shared this with. I don't know why I can tell you. And so I want to be able to, I'm putting a book together, and this project is about people who have had experiences and they know it has impacted their life in real time. So it's not some airy fairy thing, or I hear people say woo, 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 or woo hoo, or something, whatever. Like, this is very real. This is getting to the core of who we are and what the information that we receive. If we're able to put it together properly, just like you go to math class and you don't learn trigonometry in first grade, they build you up to that, right? When you're able to put that information in a correct format, then you can get information with your assignment, with the reason why you're here, with your purpose. Life begins to come together a little bit easier. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you're doing. I love that. So you're doing a project with the book, and you're looking for participants to write their chapters. I know that you already have several people that are standing in line to help you write that book. But tell us more about what it is that you need, what kind of people you're looking for. Is it for grown-ups and children? And so that give us an email of where people can contact you so that they can get in line.
Okay, well, actually, they can go to my website, and there is a form there that they can fill out. My website is destinyembraced.com, and you can fill out the contact form there. Or you can email me at themetaphysicalmom@gmail.com. Themetaphysicalmom@gmail.com.
If you're interested in this project, contributing a story to your book about kids of the KOSMOZ, is about being highly sensitive, and you want to share a story. You know, when you posted this on Facebook, I think it was like about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, when you posted the announcement about your book project and about what you're doing, you got so much feedback from people about, they were so inspired by what it is that you're doing and what it is that you're writing. This morning, I went back to that post because I wanted to share with the audience today what one of the people wrote underneath it, because this is what we're talking about, so we can give an example. And this is by one of my recent guests, Professor Johanna Sophia, that I had on this show, that shared this. And this is what she said. My kids and I have always consulted our angels and created energy shields around us, and or asked the departed to provide answers or just communicated to know how they are doing. Some of these practices are so normal to us, and we don't even consider them spiritual or out of the ordinary. I sometimes part clouds to get some sunshine, LOL, and I have always helped relax or heal others long distance, mostly without telling them. So, yes, as a writer and author, both fiction and articles, I'm intrigued by your project. So, this is getting a lot of, I just get the chills, it's getting a lot of excitement and momentum, and we want to get as many people, make them aware of that you're doing this project and where they can find you. And they can also find you on your Facebook, right, Carlenia? Where can they find you on Facebook?
On Facebook, my Facebook page is Destiny Embraced. So if you search for Destiny Embraced, you will find me.
Okay, so now we're going to go deeper into the Kids of the Cosmos message. But before we do that, we're going to take a break on the Kornelia Stephanie Show, and we'll be right back.
We're all one. We're the interconnected energy of being connected to everything that is in our universal sphere. I'm just so over the top excited about what we are creating and what's happening for us. And I'm so grateful that we made it. We're here and we're alive and we keep showing up and we're inspired and we know how to process our fears and we're moving beyond the illusion and we're going to show up no matter what. And we're not going to give up. That's what this energy is about.
Raise your daily vibe. Reprogram yourself daily. Interact with other global members. Create your own reality. Daily messages with action steps. Sign up today at CorneliaStephanieVIP.com. Your path to wholeness.
We are back, and you're listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, and Carlenia and I are talking about the Kids of the Cosmos today, and who are they? And she introduced her new project, her new book project, that you can find out more about at Destiny Embraced, and also at Carlenia's Facebook page, Destiny Embraced also, right, Carlenia?
Yes.
So part of the show today was, I wanted to read this opening that you wrote, because this is the kind of person that you are, and this is the kind of information that you bring, and education that you're passionate about. And this is what you said: born of another place and time, the guardians are being called to gather, as they have many times before, to rise up out of the storm of deception, endless suffering, and the negative agendas of those feeding on your energy. You are the keepers of an ancient wisdom called by many names: Indigo, Starseed, Lightworker, etc. In spite of your healing, you experience being coerced by people, circumstances into places of despair, distrust, and grief. You can call into the show today at 1-800-930-2819, and Carlenia will be very happy to walk you through any sadness, anger, or grief that you're having. Because what we're talking about right now in this segment is how to command your own energetic space. But Carlenia, can you give us an example of what somebody, like, what are you angry about right now? Or what have you processed recently that you're still feeling injustice by? What are some of the things that people are faced with when they when they're faced with, I want to say, their shadow and the light?
Okay, that's good. And it's interesting how you said that. Oh my God, my mind is going so many places. So I know what we call our shadow is the angry part of us, the sad part. Those are the parts that we oftentimes push down because we're told to suck it up, leave it, forget about it, just keep going. No one cares. And
would you also say that those people that are angry, that they're also projecting their anger out onto other people, and then that's what makes them bullies?
Absolutely. So it's a really vicious it's a vicious cycle. And that's why I know when it comes to sacred spaces, which I said is the core of Kids of the Cosmos, it's where we really meet that other part of ourselves and give it a space to speak. Then what we do is internally, we shut down the need to bully and we shut down the need to be bullied, because those empty spaces that's within us, places of anger and grief, the places we haven't heard, when we begin to hear those voices, we automatically begin to fill the holes that are inside of us. We automatically begin to build boundaries to secure our space. There are other things that we have to do, but it starts right there. Because as long as we can't hear the voices within us, it's going to show up in the people in our space.
Yeah. What are you angry about? Are you angry about anything right now, or were you angry, or how do you deal with your anger when it comes up? Because I think anger is a continuous release process until we just don't become angry anymore, because until we become neutral around things that used to trigger us, or we've done the healing or the thing. So at certain times anger could trigger us and come up at different times. But what are you angry about, or tell us about your
So personally right now I'm not angry, but when anger comes up for me, that's where I go. I always go to what was triggered. Something was triggered. And if I go back, I can find out for me what was triggered. So oftentimes we have these themes like you're not important, you're not worthy, you're not good enough. And those things will play out over and over and over again. So for me, it used to be not important. So what I realized is like anytime that's triggered, anytime my anger is triggered, I can look for that and I can find it somewhere in there. Oh, that's it. Okay. It's never, so I'm to a place where I realize it's not personal. It's not personal. So I literally work my process. It's a moment to moment. It's a walk in mastery, right? It's a moment.
Yeah. And isn't that how you're commanding space of your energy?
Absolutely. Because I know, before it was more of an intellectual thing, but after a whole lot of practice, you get it has nothing to do with that person. You guys met and had this experience. They can be angry, but the reason why they're angry is not the same reason why you're angry. So you guys were vibing. We were vibing to the same thing, but the experiences, our explanation of what was happening is completely different.
Yeah.
You have your own, I have my own.
Because all of a sudden then, through that experience, you may be angry, but what if that event between you and the other person triggered you and triggered that anger, and then you tracked it back and you found, oh, there it is. I'm not feeling important because I feel that they left me out or whatever. And then if we track that back even further, the fact when we were saying earlier, with your passion and your mission to support people of African descent, right? And now imagine when we look at the lineage of African descent not having been important on this planet.
Right. And actually, so we were, because we ran the planet. They don't want to say that, but we ran the planet for millions of years, or however long we've been here. And then there came this other force at some point that began to take over. And as it began to take over, it began to erase or try to erase history. But spirit is so powerful. You can't erase something that can be downloaded through consciousness, right? You cannot. You can erase it from the physical, and they weren't able to erase everything. And so what I know is that when we come into a knowledge and a truth of who we are, we're able to stand. We're as people of African descent, we're in a foreign culture. We're in a foreign environment, even though enslaved people have been here for 400 years, and this is how we think and how we act. It's not innate to us. It's not natural to us. And so this society is actually, it's an assault on our spirit as a people, because we're deeply connected to spirit. Wherever you go, when you see indigenous people and how they operate, it's how our people operated. We all came from that space where we were in complete communion with the cosmos. And we didn't have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. We came with our whole mind. We could communicate with all levels. And now everything has been separated and categorized. Our beliefs have been removed and have been taught to us as evil. So what I know is that our people always were in communion with the ancestors and ancestresses. They were always in communion. They understood that there was life, and life was a cycle. You're here, you're there, you come back. They understood that. But we were given something that was foreign. It still had to contain some of our knowledge. Otherwise, there would be an outright rejection. And so we were given heaven and hell and angels. Okay, so we're given a whole lot of things. And when we don't know who we are, it matters, because we can't stand up and fight. We cannot. So you ask, what am I angry about? I'm angry when I see policemen shooting women, children, and men of African descent, and they're holding their hands up and they're asking, why are you treating me like this? I'm angry. I'm angry that my people don't know that you have a right to fight and you don't have to die like a dog in the street. I'm angry that people don't know that during Reconstruction, they were killing policemen and judges and lawyers who were white, were killing people who were in Congress that were Black during Reconstruction that had been given that right to do that. They were murdering them. And there has never been any accountability. And it still continues. So you have people who are like KKK, whether they belong to that or not, they're wearing uniforms and they're out here murdering people. And you can't have people just murdering people unchecked. And so I want my people to know that you don't have to be afraid of the police. You can take your power back. So when you have an interaction with them, that's not even an option, because there is cosmic law, and cosmic law overrides this physical law, no matter what people tell you.
Because the problem is when we react, and it doesn't matter what color you are, it doesn't matter, it's the problem when we react with the same consciousness that, towards another person, because, it's about how we react to environments and events that are occurring around us, right? It's about how we respond and how we react. We know that we can't heal any situations if we're going to come at it from a place with weapons and with war. But if we can actually use our wisdom and our hearts and our love and our compassion, and that is how we're going to build the bridges. And there is a huge amends that needs to happen. I recently heard Marianne Williamson talk about this, where she's a big activist for the African American community, which is one of the things that I love about her, is she says that there's a big forgiveness that needs to happen, that the white people need to ask for forgiveness from the Black people.
Actually, they need to do more than ask. I know it's controversial, but when people talk about reparations, the first thing that they go to is, no, we're not doing that. But you know what? When people are assaulted by police and they actually file suits, there is recompense for that, right?
Yeah.
And when they brought people over here, they didn't see them as people. They saw them as property, and they kept very detailed records. And the funny thing is that I actually came across, I don't know how I came across it, an auction where in Baltimore, there was a book that had the names or descriptions of people of African descent, along with the prices they were sold for. And it came from 1800s, early 1800s. And it was being sold for $60,000 through a private auction. So when they say they don't want to pay and banks and businesses have been involved in all of this, and they don't want to have that conversation because they don't want to let go of control.
I would really like to hear more of your passion around this, Carlenia. I'm not even kidding. I can feel that energy that just wants to come out. I can totally see you, speaking about this on a larger scale. And I really hope that you do, because the wisdom that you're sharing there is true, and it needs to be spoken about. it needs to be spoken about. And I bet a lot of people can relate to it. But right now, we're going to take another break on the Kornelia Stephanie Show. Please feel free to call in today because Carlenia wants to support you in moving through any energetic disturbances or commanding your energetic space or whatever else that may be up in your energetic field right now. Questions about kids for the cosmos. So we're going to take a break and we'll be right back and we'll continue on the conversation. We'll be right back.
You are rewriting the story of your life. You know that your life and the environment you create is based on the energy you bring to it. You're choosing to seed the fertile ground of your life, your foundation, with powerful, beautiful intentions. Just as the seeds that you plant have a life of fulfillment in growing to completion, you can influence the process with your intention of your true heart's desire and vision.
Make peace your new habit. Build your foundation on peace and gratitude with this 21-day e-course. Release everything that is not in harmony with your true nature. Create your best life now. Visit CorneliaStephanie.com to sign up today.
Hi, welcome back to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. I'm with Carlenia Springer, and we're talking about how to take command over your own energy. And so, Carlenia, tell us about how to liberate ourselves from any disturbing influences that we find ourselves in an experience. How do we take command of our energy, and how do we liberate ourselves in the moment from?
So the first thing that we have to begin to practice doing is to tell ourselves the absolute truth. You don't have to start out with telling it to anybody else. But so often we're telling ourselves half truths. We're telling ourselves lies about our situation. We may be in a relationship that it doesn't have to be abusive. Maybe it's just not a fit. And you keep seeing things, but you're ignoring it. You want them to change, he or she to change. You want things to be different, but you're feeling empty on the inside. And you know something is wrong, and you're just glossing over it. So you may cry, you may even journal, but you're not telling yourself the absolute truth. We have to be willing to tell ourselves 100% truth. Because when we start to do that, then what happens is that we gain discernment. When we don't tell ourselves the truth, we see something and we can't discern what we're seeing. And so we take ourselves back and forth, this like mental seesaw, right? We're going up and down, back and forth. We're not sure where we are. We're anxious. Some people are bordering on panic attacks because they're in their head and they don't know what's happening. They literally are in this spin. And so when we begin to tell ourselves the truth, you can see, and I think you mentioned something about this, like you can see what actually is happening, right? You can see what is happening from a neutral place. Not through the eyes of your condition or whatever, right? Not through your perspective, but just what is. Like right now, you and I are on this channel and we're having a conversation.
Yeah.
I can say, you know what? We were here and I was upset about police killing Black people or whatever. I can make that up, but the truth of it is just plain facts. I'm here, you're here, and we're on this channel. That's it. Anything else is colored with my emotion. And so when we do that, we already set ourselves on a foundation where we can see exactly where we are in space and time. We're talking about kids of the cosmos. Kids of the cosmos, you know where you are in space and time. You understand that you're a time traveler, that time is not fixed. And oftentimes you're thrown backwards in the past or forwards in the future, and you're being thrown automatically. So when you're being thrown automatically, you don't have control over that. It's important to tell yourself the truth, to go into deep silence. Where am I? Where am I? Because there's a part of you that's speaking. There's a part of you that's lost. There's a part of you that's disconnected from who the Supreme Being created you to be. And that's the disruption that we feel. And if you can't locate him or her, in time, then you can't bring them back home. You can't bring them back into your heart, right? You have to be sovereign in your space. And so when these voices show up, when these different parts of you show up, you have to be able to recognize and identify them so you can bring them back.
Yeah, this is so perfect because a lot of times, that's because you're talking about uh, people not giving their power away and projecting the energy back out, taking command over your space. And sometimes when you're in the moment and you get triggered by something, by some event, or by some person, and you get triggered where you get angry and you feel the rage bubbling inside of you. What do you do? So what came to me when you were talking like this, Carlenia? Do you want me to share with
Yes,
you a quick
absolutely.
story?
Yes.
What actually came to me? What reminded me when I was in the process of writing my book, Peace: The Flip Side to Anger. That was back in 2014. I was writing that book, and at that time, I was living in this 4-bedroom house by myself, and I had just contacted a roommate and just had rented a room. It was another woman that I brought in, and then I realized, I could get one more roommate. So I asked my roommate, does she mind if I bring in another person? Brought in another person, and this happened to be a man. And I did all the background checks on him, and he checked out. It was all good. And so then when he came in a week after he got there, both my roommate and I started feeling his bully in the house. Started feeling his energetics in the house, in our home, right? And my home is a peaceful sanctuary, a peaceful garden, a beautiful space where you can feel relaxed and at home and at peace. And now all of a sudden, I have this man come in, and he had this bully energy. So we both felt it. So as soon as like he was there for a week, and then I realized, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. He's going to have to move out. So I went to him, and I went and I saw him in the kitchen, and I looked up at him because he was like 6'5", and I looked up at him and I go, hey, I have to tell you, but it's not going to work out, you living here, and you're going to have to move, right? And he looks down at me. He looks down at me, and he points his finger in my face, and he said, "You can't make me. You can't make me."
In your house.
In my house, he said, "You can't make me," right? So when he did that, every single bullet you could imagine inside my body was firing up on all cylinders, right? It's like every inner bullet was going off, and I was shaking. I was shaking because I had this man standing in my house. He's telling me I can't do anything about what I just asked him to do. And suddenly, every bullet that you can imagine. So, and it was so interesting because I was in the process of writing my book, Peace: The Flip Side to Anger. Now that means that I can't get angry at this guy and project and yell and scream and totally go off on him because I'm writing about it in my book. So now I got to practice what I preach.
Right.
Yet at the same time, I've got like 100 bullets going off in my body that want to shoot this guy and take him out. I'm not even kidding, right? I totally want to go off on this guy in every way. So, but all of a sudden, spirit took over, and it was like, I looked up at him and I go, we're going to see about that. And that's all I said. And then I went away, and then I went into my sanctuary. And in my sanctuary, I released all of that anxiety and all that energy and all that, everything that was coming through me by feeling. And what did I track it to? I felt powerless. I felt powerless. This woman felt powerless by this man in my house. And he said, I can't make him move out. Not only am I a landlord, but I'm also a woman. And, he has rights and I have rights too. Where are the rights? Whose favor are we going to be on? And what is this traumatic experience going to be about? But the truth of all of it is that I felt powerless. And I knew that if I did my energetic work and released that feeling of powerlessness that I had within my being, once I released all that energy and reset myself to a place of empower, I'm in power, and how I respond and how I react and how I want to approach this. So I released all of those feelings, and that took a while. It took for the rest of the day. And then the next day I sat down and I said, okay, Kornelia, now what do you want? And I said, I want him to move out. So what did I do? Back to the drawing board I went, and I went back to him and I go, you are going to need to move out. And I spoke with him in confidence, in my power. And I said, no, you are going to need to move out. This is not going to work. Suddenly the table turned, and this bully that bullied me yesterday was now all of a sudden going, well, then you're going to have to give me all of my money back, and you're going to have to, and all of that. And I go, yeah, you're going to get all your money back, but you're going to need to move now. And he moved out that weekend.
So that's what I want people to see, that right there.
And he moved out that weekend. And so what could have happened? I could have totally got on the phone, called the police, put a restraining order, because both my roommate and I, we were scared of this guy. I did have our locks changed on our bedroom doors because I am a landlord and I have to be responsible. But really what flashed through my being, Carlenia, at that time was I saw myself in the Middle East, and I saw what those women in the Middle East have to deal with when the Taliban, raises through their cities and they murder the women and children, or they rape the women and children, or they take over those cities and the women are powerless. That's the energetic bullet that was going off in my body. That's what I was facing. And that's what I was dealing with. Me as a woman not feeling empowered to deal with this raging lunatic that was now living in my house, that was going to be calling the shots if I didn't do that energetic work. So that was so huge. It was amazing. That weekend, he ended up moving out. And then it became a story in my book, right? And through that experience, I ended up claiming my power. And the day when he moved out, I wrote a song. It was like literally, the man moved out, I went back into my sanctuary, and next thing you know, I wrote a song, and it was a rap song. And
oh my God, are you a songwriter?
Listen to this, Carlenia. Oh my God, I wrote a song, and the song was, I want my house back. I got my house back. I want my children back. I got my planet back. I want my source back. I got my God back. I want my house back, because it's like that. And that's
wow.
the way it is. Oh my God. I wrote this song, right? And it was like, oh my God, this is so incredible. Through this experience, that's how you claim your power. That's really the best way to claim your power.
Yes.
And I'm not suggesting for anyone else to do this, because this guy, it really could have gone the other way. I mean, he could have had a gun. He could have done all kinds of things. You have to also, like Carlenia said earlier, you have to trust your intuition, and you have to know, have to trust that guidance. But I tell you, once I released that powerlessness, I knew what this experience, like you said, once you know, I knew that experience was there so that I can claim my power and not be a victim, not be a wimp. And do you notice how I didn't go back at him with yelling, screaming? I was showing him with the divine feminine energy on this planet how we're going to lead each other back home to our true nature, how we're going to lead each other back home to source, how we're going to lead each other back home to God, how we're going to restore the planet's injustices.
Balance. Yeah.
How we're going to bring that back. But I did not mean to take this whole.
No, but that was a perfect example, because as you were talking, even though you were saying like, this is not for other people, I want them to understand that when you work with this, you were protected even before that man walked into your house. He could not, by cosmic law, by universal law, he could not have touched you.
That's true.
You guys were not on the same frequency. And so what we see, things are not as they appear. And I remember in the darkest times when I was going through really hard times, I would keep hearing that things are not as they appear. Do not shut down. Because it appeared, like you said, you know what, this guy could get a gun. He didn't have to get a gun. He was so much bigger than you. He could have physically done something. And so we're taught to look outside at the physical and believe what we see. But I'm saying to people, how about trying to figure out who you are? Go and test who you are.
That's powerful.
Test who you are and see who you are and how big your God is. Because there's no way you could be doing this work for that length of time to come and write a book and somebody just walk into in the physical, just walk into your sanctuary and shut it all down. It's against universal law.
And guess what I learned through that experience? Because here I am writing a book on peace and anger and all of that. And now I bring this guy into my house. I called the chapter in the book, Mad Dad in the House. Mad Dad. You know, this guy, it could be anybody's mad bully in the house. And where's the house? The house is my house on planet Earth. But it's also happening outside on planet Earth. That's also my house. It's all of our house, because it's happening all over the world where we have these bullies going off. And that's what you and I are talking about, because our house is our house, our Earth, it's our house. And when we take ownership for everything, that doesn't mean when we take ownership for everything, we take ownership for our planet, take full responsibility for everything that is going on out there. And we clear those experiences through our physical body. It's a lot to take in if you are just tuning in to this.
That's okay, because they're getting it in their spirit. Like they already know, right?
It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in. I know it is. But you know, it's I mean, this is how we're birthing the new Earth. We're birthing the new Earth through our physical bodies, you know. And this guy moved out, and it was so weird, because I had this guy move in, bring all the furniture, and literally moved back out all within a week. And I had the chapter, I cleared my physical body, I released the powerlessness, and now I had more inner strength, more inner power, and also realized that me as a woman now have risen above this guy that was like doing this to my face, you know, in my face. And I claimed my power over that, you know. So this is what we're talking about today. We're talking about being in command of your energetic space. We're talking about being kids of the cosmos. And so I want to right now let everybody know that is listening to this interview to go to my YouTube channel at Kornelia Stephanie YouTube. And so, Carter, would you pull this up on the screen right now to show the audience where Kornelia Stephanie YouTube is? Because what's happening is we're taking this podcast and we're also putting it on YouTube. And later on, other people are going to see this interview, and I want you to be able to support me to support the channel, because what we need to get is 1,000 views to get YouTube to continuously keep broadcasting these shows, as you know, to get the audience views up. So what I would love for you to do is where Carter has it pulled up, there is a place where you can like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I would love it, appreciate it so much if you would do that. And also put a comment in the comment section there about what Carlenia talked about. We'll put a few links down. We'll put the links for the Kids of the Cosmos. We'll put Carlenia's link on her Destiny Embraced website where you can contact her. And we'll also put a link to my website and information there so that you can stay connected with us, because really we want engagement with you, and we want to support you, and we appreciate you tuning in and listening to this show today. And I appreciate you, Carlenia, for bringing this topic, because you can see I was passionate about this too.
No, I love it. I love it. When it comes to, especially when, your story of being bullied, that's what Kids in the Cosmos is teaching people across the board. So I don't care if you're an adult or you're a child, if you're experiencing bullying and you understand how to work with your energy, you understand that it's absolutely imperative that you feel your feelings, and that's how you move through. And you can recognize those parts of you that are hurt and wounded. Those are the feelings that you're feeling that's disrupting you, causing that energetic disruption. When you tell yourself the truth by listening to you, you automatically erect a border, secure your space, and you shut down any opposition. You don't have to fight anybody out here. You don't have to be marching in the street for your rights. Take your rights back. I mean, there's a place for that, but at another level, take your power back. You have to know who you are. You have to know your identity. Because if you don't know that you're a spirit, you're not going to know. You're just going to look outside. If you just looked outside of yourself, you wouldn't have done anything. You would have been scared. You probably would have just called the police, and there may have been some kind of altercation.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to do is call the police, create drama. I knew this situation was here to support me. I mean, I'm in the middle of writing this book and I'm claiming my power. And so that's what all of that was about. And since that time, I don't have those kinds of experiences anymore. Whenever we get triggered, there's always, this is the reason why I wanted to write that book about anger, because I believe that anger is the creative fuel and the creative source, because underneath that anger, there is a truth that is waiting to be claimed. And so when we can recognize anger for creative fuel and source for what it really is, it activated me so much that I had to go utilize that energy and find out what was underneath there in order for me to claim my power back. And that's when we use anger in a good way, right there. That's
what they call a righteous anger.
Yeah.
Right, because it's directed. It's like the most powerful force.
Yeah.
Besides the sexual energy, I think sexual energy is the most powerful force. But besides that, anger, rage, that energy, you redirect that in a proper way, injustice will be squashed.
Thank you, everybody, for listening and for tuning in to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. Thank you, Carlenia Springer, for bringing this amazing topic. We'll see you all next time. Namaste. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.